Hi guys, welcome to my book club. The book we have today, The Simple Path to Wealth, Your Roadmap to Financial Independence and a Richer Free Life by J.L. Collins, who says, there are many things money can buy, but the most valuable of all is freedom. Freedom to what you want and to work for whom you respect. So we're going to summarize this book in 6 big ideas today. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get started. So big idea number 1, wealth creation for the everyday man. So for the average income earners, they dream of a better life for themselves. A life free of so many work hours and enough money making everything easy. But often, they don't have the skill or know how to accomplish this dream of wealth creation. Wealth creation is one task that drives the bulk of individuals in the labor market. They're either hoping for that one big promotion or big break to catapult them to their dream financial status. While this is admirable and inspires hard work, it's not feasible or reliable either. To create wealth, one must look outside their salary. No salary earner ever became a billionaire on their salary alone, which means that the true path to wealth forces one to think outside the box occasionally. The ideas we stumble upon won't always birth successes, and this is where the experts come in. So Collins has made it his life's work to give everyone a piece of El Dorado, the city of gold, their slice of heaven or paradise if you will. He offers readers the tools to create wealth and sustain it too. It will require formal education to do this, and J.L. Collins has broken it down into smaller, simpler chunks that even the layman can quickly grasp. So it doesn't take a degree to make wise decisions and create sustainable wealth. The most excellent advice Collins offers to avoid debt by all means. Debt presents as an easy way out of spending cash because you can always pay it back later. But in truth, debt never goes away if you keep incurring more in hopes that one day you'll pay it back. Big idea number 2, how to properly manage money, debt, saving, and investments. So what's debt? Well, it's simply the sum of money owed, but of course you knew that. We're all very familiar with the concept of debt, but this summary seeks not only to introduce it to you, but to teach you how to live free of it. So keep watching till the end. Some people will tell you it's okay to incur debt. I mean, look at credit cards. For example, if you spend $300 in a month, you'd only have to pay $10 that month. Great. No. What they don't tell you, the percentage added on for every month that passes without paying the whole sum off. Credit card debt is not a sustainable debt. It increases with each delayed payment. Debt is the one blockade to building and sustaining wealth. This summary is here to ensure you're well equipped and informed enough to get this level of financial security. There is no such thing as good debt. This is a myth created by marketers to make a quick buck on commissions. You're better off saving and paying for that house in full. But if you already have debt, then you can reconcile everything. Paid off ahead of schedule. Whatever money you receive, use it to service the debt instead of waiting for it to accumulate. Lastly, to rid oneself of debt and avoid it altogether, Collins urges you to curb your excesses and tailor your lifestyle to one that doesn't give room to incurring credit. You want to create wealth? Saving is impossible when you have to worry about debt. So Collins says it's not complicated. Stop thinking about what your money can buy. Start thinking about what your money can earn, and then think about what the money it earns can make. However, saving doesn't get restricted to taking money from your job and putting it away. Of course you can do this, but there is a much more sustainable option, investing. This way, even though you are out of work, your money works for you, and you can store up enough funds to see a measure of financial freedom. So let's talk about that. Number 3, big idea number 3, the stock market. How to surf the waves and survive the crashes. So like any financial construct, the stock market cannot assure you of perpetual gains all the time you'll invest. There is as much certainty that it will crash as there is that it will bounce back. The trick is knowing how to navigate the rocky terrain. The stock market can be a turbulent sea. but with guidance you can navigate it proficiently. In the previous chapter, Collins briefly introduced the concept of investing. Here, we will delve a little deeper into just what financial investments mean and what role the stock market plays in it. The idea of shares and stock is simple. A public limited company issues a certain number of shares to the public. If you were to buy several shares, you practically own the corresponding percentage of that company. So Collins says, so here is the simple formula: spend less than you earn, invest the surplus, avoid debt. So this concept brings us back to treating investment as if it was an investment in your own company. And with the direct effect the company's well-being has on your share dividend, you can see how that makes sense. When the market crashes, as it will, regularly you must recognize that for as low as it can go, it can grow even higher. If you invested in a crash period, the return is when it peaks again would be astronomical. Stocks are a wise investment if you wish to create wealth, but to avoid incurring any losses, you should invest when they dip in value. So people lose money in the stock market for various other reasons, such as appointing someone else to handle their shares, believing in picking the winning stock, focusing on the surface buzz surrounding the market the media reports. There is a surefire way to get the best from the market well, the possible best, because no one can beat the market. Invest in index funds. An index fund is a type of mutual fund with a portfolio constructed to match or track a financial market index's component. It's a high risk and will test your tolerance and patience, but it holds high rewards for you. So for your information, interest rates on bank cash deposits will never beat inflation. Putting your money in moderate and high risk investments is the only way to beat inflation over the long term. So big idea number 4, the secret to index funds: bonds as a safer way to building wealth. So while buying stocks is like buying a part of a company, buying bonds is technically lending money to a company or institution or having them pay you back with interest. They offer a safer route to wealth building. It aids in sheltering you from the effect of deflation. When the prices of goods drop, the value of money increases. So stocks are similar to bonds, but bonds are less volatile in value and returns. The risk involved is also reduced and not dependent on the market's performance. You only have to worry about whether the company can pay you when each year ends. Bonds are traded the same as stocks, but with an interest rate that helps regulate the market's worth. Stocks are a sure way to gain wealth, but bonds are a less volatile option. So if the interest rates drop, bonds increase in value. But if the interest rates rise, then the price you can sell them falls. All of this gets regulated by the secondary bond market. This is where bonds are traded and monitored. There are 3 kinds of treasury securities bonds based on the length of time it takes to mature. Number 1, short-term bonds, which span from 1 to 5 years and are bills. Mid-term bonds that span from 6 to 12 years and are known as notes. Long-term bonds are known as bonds that span from 12 years at the least and more on average. So bonds offer stability and a much safer platform free of manipulation unlike stocks. So now that we've run through the tools to build wealth with, it's time to learn how to use them to create sustainable wealth. Here is where the distinction between bonds and stocks stands out. The former provides wealth, but you're going to have to wait a lifetime. On the other hand, stocks make you rich overnight. Collins points out investing in SACs, Total Stock Market Index Fund. If you look to cast your net and pull in significant returns, by effect, you'd own every single company being publicly traded, but that's about 3,700 companies. So big idea number 5, the big retirement plan: learning to read the market and avoiding losses. So here is a question for you. What's your plan for retirement? Answer me in the comments. After slaving hours, weeks, months, and years at a job you may or may not really like, what's your end game? If you haven't gotten one, you probably should invest in Vanguard Total Stock Market Index. It's a surefire way to assure a safe, comfortable, and a wealthy retirement. Any individual should have a retirement plan that will be a reward after working for so long. So if you're lucky, the firm you work for will already have a retirement plan set up for you. This plan is called a 401k, and it includes a structured stock option that will deduct a percentage of your salary over time to invest in stocks that will reach maturity right around the time you retire. It's good because you don't have to bother knowing the market, hire a broker, or do much of anything. While you work, your income is busy building up a wealthy payout for you. Some firms take the initiative to set up a hefty retirement plan for their staff. If yours doesn't, you should set one up for yourself. This move gets termed wealth accumulation, and you'll remember that if you want a nice setup, then this is the way to go. But with retirement comes a specific reduction in the drive to charge at Wall Street aggressively. So this is where you switch to bonds. Yes, bonds are only good for one thing if you think about it: smoothing the ride to retirement. Also make sure you have an HSA, health savings account, for those medical bills you'd be unable to cover immediately and for your long-term health care. Big idea number 6, and the last idea in the summary: investing prepares one to live a life of true financial freedom. Once you've started investing, saving, and doing less actual work, you might ask the following questions. Do I have to wait for retirement? When can I use this money, and how much can I use at a time? The answer is 4%. You can withdraw just within 4% of your savings, investments, and stocks, and you'd be in the safe zone 8.5 times. Some experts insisted that you can withdraw up to 7%, but Collins believes this would be pushing the market too far. According to a study conducted in 1998 by professors at Trinity University, repeated testing ascertained this fact, with the best and safest outcomes ranging from the withdrawal percentage of around 4%, which means if you could withdraw less than 4% yearly, you could in effect have buckets of money left over for your heirs and their heirs as well. To ensure that you're doing this simple path to wealth thing right, you must first establish a balance between your investment options, stocks, and bonds. What is the most sensible and lucrative ratio for the two? Collins places it at 75 stores in Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, VSTAX, 25 in Vanguard Total Bond Market Index Fund, Admiral Shares. This ratio ensures that you are 75% committed to amassing wealth and 25% to preserving it. A healthy stock to bond ratio is needed for a proper safety net while investing. Now you might be thinking, why not balance it to be 50-50? The answer to that is simple. It takes more effort to invest in gathering wealth than it does to preserve it. Simple enough. You've heard of personal retirement plans, company arranged retirement plans. But there is one last one that's worth mentioning: Social Security. What is Social Security? This concept is the government's idea of an individual retirement account, IRA. They deduct from your income every month for the years you'll be in active service and save it up for you to pay it to you when you retire. Think of it as a trust fund owned by you, and the government takes care of it until such a time as you need it. Since the set age of retirement is 65 years old, you should be able to start withdrawing from your retirement fund once you retire. So those were the 6 big ideas covering this summary, guys. And one last thing that I'm gonna leave you with: invest your savings into index funds, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index and Vanguard Total Bond Market Index funds. These, in the right proportion, are simply the best way to assure that you both acquire and sustain wealth for a long, prosperous life.